Bonnet is not closed. I may have to pull over and do that back up because that is not good. Okay, so what's it like driving the Mark III MX-5? Well, it's really a go-kart like feeling, which I think is quite a common thing you hear. It really does feel, because you're so low to the ground, it's rear-wheel drive. You haven't got a ton of horsepower, so you are through the corners trying to preserve as much momentum as possible, which I think makes this so much fun to drive. And even though it's just a 1.8, this one, you can get the 2 litre. At the time when I bought this, it was my first car, so the benefit of going for the 1.8 is slightly lower insurance. I think at the time when I was 21, my insurance was, I think, around about £1,000, which, you know, first car is pretty reasonable. This actually worked out cheaper to insure over the Fiesta. On average, I get about 30 miles to the gallon, you know, which, you know, a Fiesta is obviously going to be a bit more economical, but makes up for that in the fact that it's rear-wheel drive and a convertible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little 0 to 60. So on a straight road here, put it into first, rev it up, 3,000 RPM. And that's 60. So it's not too bad. It's not gonna pin you to the back of your seat. I mean, it's about, the 1.8 is about a 9 second 0 to 60. So it, you know, straight line performance isn't what you're buying the car for. So as I was saying, so even it's a very fun car to drive. Even when it's wet, you can still get the back out a little bit. Even though on this particular model, it's just an open diff, so you wouldn't expect it to be, you know, be able to do that. But yeah, especially if it's a bit sort of oily and slidey, it is a lot of fun to drive. This has the upgraded I-back sports suspension, which drops the car, I think, like 30 mil. I'd have to double check the specs on it, but it drops it by quite a significant amount, and I think it's the go-to mod. If you only do one thing to the Mark III MX-5, it's get it on some sports suspension. It makes a huge amount of difference. Whoa. Bonnet is not closed. I may have to pull over and do that back up because that is not good. I've had it on a triple charger, so I've had the bonnet open and I thought I closed it, but I guess I didn't close it enough. Just pull over. Okay, that should be good. Okay. I have done a few upgrades over the time I've had it. One being on the interior is the double din Pioneer head unit, which I think looks great, adds a ton of just convenience, also improves the sound immensely. The head unit itself basically gives you so much more volume and clarity. It brings it up to date as well. I mean, this car came out 2006, so I'd highly recommend that as a mod. I have also upgraded the gear knob to just a stainless, I think it's stainless steel, or just a round weighted gear knob, which, you know, feels so much better than the original that it came with. Plus the one it came with started to, it was leather, it was a stock one, but it did start to fall apart a little bit, so I did end up replacing it. Not quite central, just because I think the threads are don't quite line up when you screw it on tight, but you know, it's not, you know, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then into reverse. Yeah, no, it is a super fun car to drive. Great driving position. I would say I'm on the cusp of, like, height wise when I have the roof up. You know, I'm 6 foot tall, pretty much dead on. I would say anyone who's over 6 foot, you might want to invest in some slightly lower seat brackets, but I don't think it's like undrivable if you're over 6 foot. Just yeah, just like you might want to invest in. I think it drops the seat by like an inch. Okay, so this is the exterior of the car. I haven't really done any real exterior modifications other than I did paint the calipers, which just, I mean, you know, red adds an extra 5 horsepower as everyone knows. Tires, I have recently replaced nearly well, yeah, pretty much every corner. So yeah, these are some pretty fresh tires. As you'll see, as I was talking about earlier, it's on IBAC sports suspension, which as I say, I mean, now you can see this is obviously the 16-inch wheels, 205s, 50, R13, R16, and you know, you can't, I'd say, yeah, there's about sort of an inch gap, maybe, if that, you know, so it drops it a significant amount. I mean, if you look at as it came stock, it just looked ridiculous. The suspension was so high, yeah, it just did not look good. So, plus this sports suspension improves the ride quality over the stock. It actually makes it more comfortable and perform way better. It's a win-win. They're pretty cheap. They're like, I think I paid maybe like 200 quid things, and yeah, probably the best improvement just from performance, aesthetic, comfort. It's just like adds a ton to the dynamics of the car. I have, over the time I've had it, have noticed the sort of wheel arch just starting to bubble up here, which will need addressing eventually, I think. But it's, I mean, as you can see, it's not major because it's so low. I think it, you know, picks up stone chips quite easily. I mean, yeah, as you can see by the mirror, it seems to pick up stone chips pretty easily. Roof is all in good condition. Needs a wash, but all in all is in good condition. I actually quite like the rear quarter of the car. I think it's actually probably one of its best angles. What I'll do is I'll show you under the hood. So this is, like I say, the 1.8 litre, and it's still super fun to drive. The previous owner, I have noticed, did install air conditioning in this, which, if you can see just down there, that is the air conditioning. So not a lot of Mark III MX-5s actually have air conditioning, so that's kind of a, you know, little bonus, which when I bought the car I didn't even realise. It's just a nice little surprise. That was a previous owner actually spent $2,000 getting that installed. So yeah. All right. What else? We can check out the boot, which, as you can probably expect, it's not very big at all. I think I've done a few weekends away, and you can fit, you know, probably 2 carry-on bags is about it. You know, it sort of dips down a little bit, so you can maybe get 2.5 carry-on bags, I would say. But you know, for day to day, it's you know, perfectly reasonable. I have noticed since I've owned the car, it's started to. This is, I think, aluminium, which it has started to oxidize a little bit. So that, you know, if that bothers you, that may need a respray. But other than that, all good. Seats are surprisingly comfortable and actually hold you quite well for what they are. The only trouble is I've noticed, especially, and you'll see this on a lot of Mazdas, is that they just, like, the seats just, I think where you're getting in and out, and as you get out, you sort of twist and turn. It does over time wear down the side bolsters of the seat, which is a bit annoying. But I mean, that's literally, I think it's quite a common issue on these cars. Another common issue is the drains. So down, you can't really see it from here, but essentially down in here there are some little drain holes. With the drains, they do occasionally get blocked, and I would say it's something to keep on top of, maybe every time you go to service the car, or just checking it, just making sure there's no build-up of water behind the seat. If there is, and you need to unblock it, as I say, you can use those trumpet brushes, which, because of the valve, didn't work in my case. I don't know if it's the case in all Mark IIIs, but definitely with mine, there's a valve, so you can't, those brushes just don't work. They don't, you know, they don't get through, they don't push the sort of dirt and debris out, essentially. So what you have to do is take off all this plastic trim. I mean, it's just these little, you know, plastic trim little things, and you have to undo a few screws. You don't have to take out the seat, but it does make it easier if you just take the seat out. I mean, it's just 4 bolts, so it's not anything major. And then right down here, it's like a cutout, and it's where your seatbelt mechanism is. And behind that is the drain, which you can take out. It's like a rubber silicone tube, take out, clean, run some water through it, stick it back in, put all the plastic back, put the seat back, and you're done. It's really quite, it's not a hard thing to do, it's quite straightforward and easy, but it's just, yeah, worth staying on top of. Otherwise you end up with, you know, water sitting, and then it creates a lot of damp. It's just not good. But that is all that. This car is for sale, so I have put the car up on Auto Trader, so I'll leave a link in the description where you can check out if you're interested. It's like I say, it's a great car, super fun. You know, it's got those sort of go-kart driving dynamics. I've owned the car since 2019, so I've had it about 4 years now. I bought it in January 2019. So like I said, I've owned the car for 4 years. In that time, I've driven the car quite a bit. It's now on 119,000, almost 120,000 miles. Never had anything mechanical go wrong with the car. It's been very reliable. Obviously it's had, you know, regular servicing and all the rest of it. So, you know, no mechanical problems, been a sort of very reliable car.